Dave, and we're here today at the Newcastle Drum Centre. That's newcastledrum.co.uk. That's in Newcastle upon Tyne in the UK. Here, as you can see, I have a cajon. You might not be familiar with the cajon, but I'm sure a lot of you will be. They've become very, very popular over the last few years, really. If you're not sure exactly what a cajon is, it's a Peruvian box-drum, essentially. It kind of originated in Spanish colonies in Peru, where there were music bands. At least this is how one theory goes. And they were basically just boxes that people used to slap the front of, and they were easily disguised as seats or something along those lines, and that's where they came from. As you can see here, this cajon's a bit more sophisticated and modern than a simple wooden box. This cajon here is made by Gonbops, and it's the Alex Acuna series special edition flamenco cajon. Just a quick bit about the construction of the cajon. It has a soundboard on the front, which is usually screwed around the outside, just to keep it in and keep that soundboard actually part of the drum. The main difference between this and a normal drum, or a membranophone, is that the membrane on this is wood, whereas a normal membrane would be animal hide or would be plastic. You can see the construction of the cajon on the outsides is actual individual little blocks of wood. It's about 10mm thick, and that continues around the bottom as well, and the other sides too. Whereas the front is relatively thin, and is made of plies of one type of wood. There will be links to this cajon on our website in the description below, and links to the history of the cajon and various resources below as well in the description. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this cajon a little bit for you. I'm going to show you how to play a basic drum kit rhythm. I am a drum kit player, not really a cajon player, although I do play the cajon every now and again. And my kind of interest in the cajon is using it as a substitution for a drum kit in, say, an acoustic setting where you might be playing with acoustic guitars and a singer. So what I'm going to do is play the We Will Rock You rhythm by Queen, essentially. It's going to be 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And I'm quickly going to explain to you, before I play that, the different types of sound you can get from the cajon. We have, first of all, we have the bass tone in the centre of the cajon, and I will play these tones for you in a second so you can hear them as well. We have the bass tone down here. Some people do play with a cupped hand, which is absolutely fine, although I do prefer playing with a slightly more open hand. You tend to get a slightly better tone from there. So I'm just going to play that a few times so you can hear it. That was the bass tone there. You could hear it's nice and round and full sounding. It's kind of the substitute for the kick drum of a drum kit, essentially. Now I'm going to move up and play the conga tone of the drum. We play this with the flat of the 4 fingers right across the front and top of the drum. So this is what this sounds like. So that's the conga tone on the drum, similar to how you would play the conga. You can dampen that tone as well, and that would sound like this. So that was dampening the tone with my left hand, putting a bit of pressure on the thumb there, as you can see. We also have 2 more main sounds we can get from this drum, and I'll play them both together. We have the slap in the middle and the slap at the edge. This is with the ends of the fingers, but still so you get a bit of that snare sound. So here we are. They're the 2 slap sounds we can get from the cajon. So we have the bass, the conga, and the cajon tones essentially out of this cajon. And I'm just going to play a quick little amalgamation of all 4 of those tones. Just a quick kind of demonstration of those 4 tones used in order that the kind of builds a rhythm together. Now I'm going to show you that We Will Rock You rhythm on the cajon. All we're going to do is bass tone on 1 and 1 hand, on 2 top right hand slap tone. That's my right hand, obviously. Then 3 and 3 hand on the bass tone again. Everyone knows this rhythm; it'll be instantly recognisable. And 4 on the slap tone. So here we are. Simple little rhythm there, but it sounds great on a cajon, especially this flamenco cajon. You can hear that snare sound coming through, a little bit less on the bass tone, but more on the slaps. That's so that the kick drum, the sound of the bass tone sounds more like a kick drum. The sound on the slap sounds more like a snare. More separation. Those snare sounds are created by guitar strings, actually, that are strung across the inside of this front soundboard here, and that's why you get that snarey sound. What I'm going to do now is fill in the 16th note gaps with my left hand with a loose conga tone, That's kind of between the middle and the right and the left hand side, with my hands really loosely. Remember, keep the hands loose, lots of wrist motion, keep the fingers apart. We don't have to spread like this, but keep them apart, don't keep them together. It lets the drum breathe more. So here we go, I'll fill in those gaps. So there we go, that was just a basic kind of 8-beat rock rhythm. Obviously it's kind of 16-beat with that left hand in there too, but the main pulse is 8th notes, and it can be used for We Will Rock You by Queen if you do an acoustic cover of that, or for any 4/4, you know, pattern where you're using a cajon. I'm just going to show you the next kind of level of that as well before we finish, and that is kind of building in more kick drums or bass tones with the right hand and the left hand, and still filling in those gaps with the left hand up on the left hand corner. We can also dampen some of the tones that we play with our right hand with our left thumb along this kind of area here, pushing in, normally kind of just beside where you play the bass tone there. So I'll just demonstrate that for you. Can you see how you can easily bring a really simple 8-beat rhythm like the We Will Rock You rhythm and turn it into something great on a cajon. A little bit more complex, and we will go into more complex rhythms and techniques in the later videos as well. So my name's Dave. You joined us here today at the Newcastle Drum Centre in Newcastle upon Tyne in North East England, and that's newcastledrum.co.uk.